right. So
Yeah, I say let's get started saying hi and yeah, get moving. People are still trickling in, but that's okay.
Yeah, we usually start with going around just to see who we have here. So maybe if you can share your name, just very brief intro, what you do, and if you are wearing green or have some kind of St. Patty's Day connection. So I'd like to start. Marvin is wearing green.
Got green on today.
Yeah.
This is Tom.
Yeah.
I'm Robin.
Yes. And Tom, what's your last name?
Woods.
Woods. Yes. Tom, you want to start us off?
Yeah, Robin and I are with Reef Guardians Hawaii, and we've got a number of programs. You can check us out on the internet, reefguardians.org, involved with all kinds of different things with in the water, children's educational programs, putting together, new apps. We've got a Robots on a Reef program that are using robots to identify health conditions under the water, things of that nature. Robin can tell more.
Yeah, and we do water quality studies along with Robin Knox, who's on the call today,
Oh, cool.
and also restoration projects. And we also work in California too, in the Santa Barbara area.
Nice.
With shark research, and we are in the process of being involved in the capping of the wells that are out in the ocean. So
wow.
finding them and getting them capped.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, we're excited to hear what you've got going on. And do you want
Great.
to also talk about your other work that
No,
you do?
this is
Okay.
good for now.
Okay.
We'll stay.
All right. Thank you for that. And maybe we'll go to the other Robin on the line since we've got two today. Good to see you, Robin.
Oh.
You've got your green beads. You're on mute.
there we go. I'm wearing my authentic St. Patrick's Day Mardi Gras beads from New Orleans Irish Channel parades. And I'm a water quality scientist, live here on Maui for about 16 years now. And like Robin said, I've been working with them on doing some watershed planning, and cesspools and septic tanks are some of our big concerns at Anini, where we've been doing some characterization work.
Great. Yeah, we look forward to that. We can follow up with you guys after this about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. And Marvin, you want to go next? I'm going with the people that are in green, boldly wearing their green.
Well, yeah, my name is Marvin Heskett. I'm a husband and a dad, kind of a surf instructor and surf coach for my son, I guess. And I do a lot of water quality work as well. I'm a former lab director. I've done consulting for an environmental consulting firm for several years now, and worked with the DOH on various projects. I'm just wearing my favorite green shirt today.
All right. Good. Glad to have you on the call. And since we're doing the R's and before, Roya, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Roya Dennis, and I am not wearing green because I totally forgot it was St. Patty's Day until you said it. That's how deep I am in it. And just happy to be here.
Great. Thank you for joining us again. Yeah. John, how about you?
Hi, I'm John. I've been working with WAI as a volunteer on the North Shore of Kauai. And we're looking forward to helping them with this incinerator toilet project, and in also doing work with the Hana initiative on some of their water quality work as well recently. And I've got my son's, let's see if that works, my son's leprechaun to share that he drew.
Very nice. Very nice. That might be the winning presentation so far. All right, Michael, you want to go next? I don't know if your screen is frozen, Michael. There you go. Can you hear us? Just a brief intro. Michael Cripps.
Oh, sorry, you were frozen when I guess you said my name. Mike Cripps from Kahaluu, windward side of Oahu. And the moment I'm on the board of a small group of houses, which are a condominium, which are from the 60s and have cesspools. And we're going to need to do something about that. We've had 2 or 3 cave-ins so far. Past was 20 years as an on-scene coordinator with the Hazard Evaluation Emergency Response Office of the Health Department. Due to some previous talk we had, I'm starting to work on some of the toxic gases and what significance they may have for cesspools and septic systems.
Great, thanks for joining us, Mike. Ryan. Ryan is our on our advisory board and is the distributor for Cinderella toilets, incineration toilets.
Hello, was that my intro or do you want me to say something?
Yes, you can add more.
All right, yeah, so Ryan Ward, I'm a civil engineer, professional civil engineer registered in Hawaii, as well as a general contractor, and recently distributor for the Cinderella toilets, working with the WAI team on the cesspools as well.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Christina?
Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Comfort. I'm the program manager at WAI, and I'm a coastal oceanographer and also do a lot of water quality science. Thanks, everyone, for signing on.
All right, thank you. Keith, would you like to introduce yourself?
Aloha. I make my home in Waimea on the Big Island. There's several places here where there are neighborhoods that are all on cesspool, far too close to the near shore, and the reef is suffering. We've had some minor successes with getting some planning and design money for Puako Road. And this is an example that we could roll out all over the state. I personally, volunteer to take, ocean health samples, and simply because the Department of Health is just they say they're overwhelmed.
Yes.
But energy environment is, I guess I'm kind of a policy wonk. I spent a lot of time, at least in the last few weeks, engaging with the legislature at the moment.
Oh, good. We need more people doing that. Thank you for that. Yes, nice to meet you, Keith. James, welcome.
Yeah, aloha, James McKay, originally from Australia, retired surf rider executive committee. Now I'm kind of, well, I wouldn't say between jobs. I'm always busy doing something. So I actually just got back from a week in nice wet Kauai this morning. And there's some, every island I go to, there's always overlap.
Hope you froze there for a second. All right, James, we'll come back to you because you're frozen.
Sometimes you feel like you're in a third world with our internet.
I know, right? Kind of comes in and out.
Well, actually, the third world. I mean, there's places in, like mountainous, Vietnam that get better service than we do.
All right, and then because James mentioned Kauai, I'll go to Ben. Ben, are you with us or are you just listening in?
I'm here. Good to see you, Stuart. Ben Sullivan, County of Kauai, Energy Sustainability Coordinator. Happy to meet you guys. Thanks for including us.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Rob Culbertson.
Hello, everybody. I'm on the Big Island as well, kind of a partner with Keith and some of the projects that work with the eco dems over here in natural resources. Very interested in cleaning up the nearshore waters. Once we get the aquarium collectors and poachers kicked out, then one of our big problems in preserving reef ecology will be the polluted waters. And so, yeah, I'm very interested in Cinderella. In fact, I called those guys, were excited when I heard about them on the radio. And I think reevaluating the terms we use, including waste, and changing that to a resource is very helpful. So anxious to hear what everybody has to say. Love Kauai.
Right. Thank you, Rob. You're in the right group. Waste is a resource. And Darlene.
Hi. Hello.
You can join us. Doing a brief intro. You are?
I'm just interested in converting my cesspool. So I'm just looking for information and data.
Great. You can join us today. All right. And why don't we go to Felicia. Felicia Cowden, can you hear us?
Yes, hi. I'm in my car. I'm parked, but I'm your councilwoman from Kauai, and I think that there's a lot of applications that would have value here. Most of the ones that come to my mind are, you know, we're really struggling on how we're going to deal with our houseless community, where people can be relocated. Certainly cesspools are a big issue all over our island. And I have to learn more about, it's hard for me to understand how a Cinderella would fit in a regular house. So maybe that's something I could learn.
Yeah.
But I think there's all kinds of applications for simple housing and off the grid housing. So, I'm just here to learn more, listen and learn.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Councilmember Cowden. Appreciate it. All right, and I think then we have Leonard and Raquel. Leonard, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to Leonard. Raquel?
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, calling in from the field today. My name is Raquel Gilliland. I am the operations coordinator here at WAI. So I run all of our social media and content management and coordinating with any public outreach and education we do. And my background's in aquatic and marine biology, so also doing a little consulting on the biology side. And yeah, it's a pleasure to have you all here. I think it's one of our more packed Hanas in a while, so this is exciting.
Thank you. And then we'll go to Melody. How are you, Melody? I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, okay. Aloha. Good to see everyone. My name is Melody Aduh. I am the chair for Region 9 on the County of Oahu, well, County of Honolulu, but from Democratic Party standpoint, we call it Oahu County. And so Region 9 comprises of Waihole down to Waimanalo. And I grew up in Kahalu by the lane where the Sunshine Gallery is located, if you're familiar with that area, which recently had a huge flooding situation earlier of last week. In fact, the camera of the news went right down the alley where I used to live or where I grew up. And it was funny because back then as a kid, we always played whenever it flooded. It didn't matter to us. And we were not aware that every time that happened, there goes our cesspool, which was right at the front, right next to the house. So funny, we had very we had a lot of immunity back then because that was not a problem. But anyway, yeah, I'm also co-chair of the Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party. So that's the main reason why I'm here. I'm also co-chair of the Human Environmental Impacts Committee, and our focus are on several things like Red Hill, Puhakuloa, Huhunua, and cesspools. So I'm really interested in the Cinderella. I do have a little bit of knowledge about the nano toilet that Bill Gates had introduced. I don't know how this is similar, but hopefully it's something that we can use definitely. And Kahalu being #1 priority by the Department of Health. And of course, the other part of my Region 9 is Waimanalo, which is a priority too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for joining us, Melody, and thanks for kind of bringing the issue of cesspools to the Democratic Party and to the caucus and inviting us to do presentations about that. We appreciate that support. Yeah. And then I think we just have G. Hoffman wants to say a word.
And Jackie Orsa also.
Oh, and Jackie. Okay, perfect.
Hi, this is Gail Hoffman. I'm just listening in today.
Great. Thank you for joining us, Gail. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I just joined on. I just started volunteering with WAI a few months ago, and I'm over on the Big Island, Kona side. I'm really just here to listen and absorb and learn more information. I work in real estate over here on the Kona side, and not wearing green, but I'm baking Irish soda bread right now. So I think that counts or something.
Nice to see you, and thanks for volunteering for WAI. We appreciate
Nice
that.
to see you.
Yeah. Great. Is there anybody I missed besides our presenter? My name is Stuart Coleman. I'm the executive director of WAI, and it's nice to see so many familiar faces and some new ones as well. We appreciate your kind of tuning in. This is something we do every month on the third Wednesday at 5:30, just to update people about the issue of sewage pollution, usually with more of a focus on cesspools, but then alternative and really innovative technologies. And so it's great to have you here. And I'm really kind of glad to turn it over to Yoko. Joachim is part of our team at WAI and just a really super talented and brilliant wastewater engineer. And he helped devise this system with Cinderella that we'll be talking about. So I'll turn it over to you, Yoko.
Thank you very much, Stuart. That's very kind of you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate you all being here and spending your St. Patrick's Day Eve with us. I would love to, after I introduce myself, start a little interactive poll. But first I'll say, like Stuart said, my name is Joachim. You can call me Yoko if you like. I am the project coordinator for WAI, and I work for WAI as part of my fellowship with UHC grant. And my background is in wastewater engineering. I'm going to share my screen here, and you're going to see an interactive survey that's going to pop up on your screen here. And just in a second, there you go, there's a link. You can either go to pollev.com/mightyfrog247 on any device, a phone or another browser tab if you want. Or if you want to participate using your phone, you can text mightyfrog247 to the number 22333 to join. And then you will be part of this interactive survey. Mighty Frog is not something that I chose. It was randomly generated, but I think it's very funny, so I didn't change it. So the question for this one, there's two questions for now. First question is, what sources of gray water can you think of? And as soon as you submit your answer, it'll pop up here and we can look at them together. It's anonymous, so no worries if you're not quite sure, but please participate if you can. There you go. The first answer, shower, is popping up, and I'm sure more answers will come in now. This is sort of to set the scene. Kitchen, we have sink, more people saying shower, laundry. The more people submit the same answer, the bigger it gets. So you can see multiple people submitted shower. We have dishwashers. Interesting. Laundry getting bigger. Sink getting bigger. Vanity. Bathroom. Washing. I'm gonna give it 5 to 10 more seconds as showers getting bigger. Showers getting even bigger. Tub. Smiley face. That's good. Injecting some happiness in this colorful survey. Machine, washing machine, I'm sure that meant. Everything, somebody said. Interesting. All right. Okay. 3, 2. Before we move on. Wow, it's keeping going. Lawn care. Okay, I'm going to give it a little more second. Everything but the toilet. Interesting. Good. Very good. Still answers coming in. So, okay, maybe 5 more seconds from now then. Pool is full.
Awesome.
Pool is full, no longer accepting responses. So thank you all very much. Very good job. Very active crowd here. I think, let's see, there's a chat message. Just see if that's anything that I need to attend to. Oh yeah. Go ahead, Stuart.
I just want to also welcome, sorry, they weren't on my screen. We've got Sandy from Kauai, who, if you want to say a few words, you can, and Alani and Mahina, thanks for joining us.
Aloha, this is Sandy. I'm the Innovation Grant Manager for the County of Kauai, and we are super excited about this project. It was one of our selection committee's favorite projects. So congratulations, and we're really excited to hear more about it.
Thank you so much, Sandy. We really appreciate it. For those who may not have heard, we won an innovation grant from Kauai County that Sandy helped manage to talk about what Yoko is going to talk about tonight. So we're really excited about that. So thanks for joining us, Sandy.
And then Mahina, if you want to say a few words, if you're there, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Aloha kako, Mahina Paishan Tuwart. I have the pleasure of serving VAI as one of its board members. Thank you very much for all your folks' support and joining us this evening. Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you very much. And I think Nalani was another person who hasn't introduced themselves yet, if you want to.
Aloha, Nalani Bruin, the Director from the Office of Economic Development. Glad to have the new partners on board. So our whole team is here to watch. Thank you.
Mahalo.
No pressure, right? Okay, I'm gonna go over to the next slide. There's one more, like I said, this one fittingly in darker colors. Should pop up on your screen if you still have it open. If not, you can use the link at the top to open it back up. This one is what sources of black water can you think of? First person says toilet, Johnny toilet, sink, kitchen. Okay, so we have some overlap here. So we're gonna clarify that in the presentation. Which of those are gray? Which one of those are black? Lua. Good. Sink coming in with many submissions. Toilets. See now? Urinal. Very good. House. Sewer, yeah. Litter box, good. Greywater store too long, very interesting. Okay. Sick, okay. Cesspool. Okay, we'll give it 5 to 10 more seconds for people to submit their answers. Overflowing. Sometimes when you submit multiple words, it looks like it splits it up into different, so something says someone, I guess someone's sick maybe. Cloth diaper laundry, interesting. Very creative answers here, I really appreciate that. Thank you all very much for taking part in this like that. What's this about? Okay, so thank you all very much. As the last answers come in, I'm going to give it 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. So I really appreciate it. Stuart, did you have anything else you wanted to say before we move on to the presentation?
No, we're just really excited because I met the founders of the Cinderella Incineration Toilet in Beijing at the Gates Foundation, where they had the Reinvented Toilet Expo. And they were just very interested in coming to Hawaii. And, you know, at first I was very puzzled by the name Cinderella with a toilet. And then I realized it's actually, you know, perfect because Cinderella was named because she swept the cinders in the chimney, and it's a Scandinavian tale. And this is a Norwegian company, so it makes perfect sense now. And they've just been really amazing company to work with. They kind of invented the modern incineration toilet. So yeah, I'll kick it to you, Yoko.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen again and start this presentation. I want to say this is going to be co-presented between Ryan, John, and myself. And this first slide here, the background is Moku'oloi in Kaneohe Bay, where the very first incineration toilet in Hawaii and therefore the Western United States was piloted in cooperation with HIMB, the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology. So again, thank you very much for joining us today. And first, I want to give a bit of a solution to the polls that we had earlier. So the way that greywater is defined in the state of Hawaii is that it has not come into contact with toilet waste, and that it excludes wastewater from food preparation sinks or dishwashers. That means example sources of greywater can be showers, washing machines for laundry, and hand washing sinks. Blackwater, on the other hand, is something that either has come into contact with toilet waste or is wastewater from the kitchen, so showers, so food preps, sinks, and dishwashers, or septic tank effluent also. And really good point that somebody made about greywater that has been stored too long. That is true, that goes septic. So that's something you want to avoid. Here is a diagram that shows what typical wastewater flows are like in a house that is connected to a cesspool. You can see the 4 wastewater sources I want to point out here are greywater from a washing machine, greywater from the shower, blackwater from the toilet, and blackwater from the kitchen sink and dishwasher. And if you have a cesspool, most of the time, everything of those is combined into a pipe and goes straight into the cesspool. And I want to show that the positives, the upsides here are not really existent because it is harmful to the environment and harmful to public health. Some cesspools more than others, but most of them are. And there is no water reuse happening here at all. In a septic system, which consists of a septic tank and a leach field, you have still all of the flows being connected and being disposed of in the same space. But there is some rudimentary treatment happening. There's gravitational settling in the septic tank, which settles out the bigger particles, and then only the liquids continue onto the leach field and get disposed of there. However, there's still no water reuse happening there. It is relatively expensive to convert your cesspool to a septic system, and it has a relatively large footprint because the leach field, depending on the soil, is between 100 and a couple thousand square feet that not everybody has space for. And so here is the system that we're proposing and that we're lucky to be able to pilot. It's what we call the combination system. It provides for greywater reuse. It's relatively affordable and has a smaller footprint. And how is that possible? Well, first off, we're using the Cinderella incineration toilet instead of a conventional toilet, which means that all wastewater, solids and liquids from that toilet, after somebody uses it, you press a button and it's incinerated. So that means the liquids evaporate through a vent and it goes through a filter, it goes out into the air, above the ceiling, and the solids are turned into ash. And that ash is pathogen-free, it's odor-free, and it's very safe. You can dispose it once a week for regular family use. You can dispose of it in the trash or even hopefully in the future as a soil amendment. which leaves the only other blackwater source being the kitchen sink and the dishwasher. We're proposing for that to go through a small treatment tank, not larger than 100 gallons, which is much cheaper to install than a septic tank, and then a mini leach field, which is going to be also much smaller than a conventional leach field. The gray water, on the other hand, from the washing machine and the shower is combined just with each other, no black water is touching this, and it's going into a holding tank, which is provided for to make sure that the flow is equalized. And then it's going also into a mini leach field. The great thing about this is that plants can be planted over this leach field to provide for the gray water reuse. So you can have, not food crops, but there are many plants that really love growing on gray water, so they can really survive well with this. And then overflow, there is a mandatory overflow mechanism that has to exist if you install a greywater system. And so this can be discharged into the seepage pit, which is essentially just the cesspool that has been cleaned and made safe from collapsing. So this system overall is relatively affordable compared to a septic system, and it has a smaller footprint. To put some numbers to these words, we assume the worst site conditions, which means clay soil, very slow percolation rates, and we assume an average single family home, which is the one that we're going to use for the pilot project. So let's say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home that uses a washing machine for laundry. If you were to install a septic system to convert the cesspool, that would cost approximately $23,000 for materials and labor. That doesn't include permitting. And you would have a leach field that's almost 1,000 square feet total. With our combination system, you end up with only approximately $15,500. That includes material and labor. And the leach field is only about 1/3 of that footprint, both of the small mini leach fields combined. And you provide for gray water reuse because you can plant plants over the gray water leach field. And I'll kick it over to Ryan to talk about the installation of the very second pilot site that we have on North Shore Oahu at Kuilima Farms.
Hello, everyone. So as you can see from the photos, the installation at Kuilima was in a self-contained outhouse. The design of the outhouse is similar to the one that went in at HIMB, where it's easy to move with the forklift. The only thing connecting it to the ground is a ground rod for the solar and the power system. This is a propane model. It uses just a standard like barbecue grill propane tank. Same regulator, everything. The one solar panel is combined with a 12-volt battery to power the electronics of the toilet and the ignition of the gas. The exhaust does have a catalytic converter. I want to say exhaust, but the vent pipe has a catalytic converter to that'd be similar to your car exhaust to clean up the vent or exhaust, or I don't know how you want to say it. Was there anything else on that, Yoko? Any more information you'd like on that?
Yeah, maybe I want to say first, congratulations. You just had your first order for the electric version on the Big Island. And then maybe you want to say a few words on what that would look like if it is installed in a regular house.
Okay, so to install them in a regular house, the electric, the gas model is probably best used for exterior, similar to this. Anything on the interior is going to run off of a 15 amp 220 circuit. So not the same as a small air conditioner. The installation inside a home, it would sit in the same footprint as a regular toilet. So you can remove your toilet, you can cap it, and you can set it right in the same spot. The only difference is you have to run power and a vent. Now the vent pipe is a larger pipe. It's a 4-inch plastic PVC pipe. And what will work best for installation of the Cinderella is going to be an exterior wall. It doesn't have to be an exterior wall. A lot of bathrooms do have chase walls that are 2x6 walls that the vent pipe will fit in. But if you don't have a 2x6 wall, then there'd be some other considerations. So I think every installation is going to be a little bit different, just depending on, you know, the configuration of the house, whether you have single wall construction or anything else.
Thank you very much, Ryan. I'm sure there will be some questions later, so we can pick that up later, but super good overview that you just gave. Thank you.
And I do not know what Stuart's looking at in the picture.
I'm like, it's all gone, really? I think we had just put an apple banana in the toilet as a test run, and it smelled like banana muffins in there, but there was no sign of it.
So I want to say thank you all, especially to the County of Kauai officials that are joining us here today, because we are glad to announce and grateful to announce that we are awarded one of the Kauai Innovation Grant prizes to conduct this pilot study in Kauai. We applied for $50,000. That includes 2 pilot sites. One will just be a Cinderella toilet, and one will be the complete cesspool replacement using 2 Cinderella incineration toilets in the greywater system, the combination system that I presented earlier. So we're super excited about this. Thank you all very much. And we'll obviously keep you updated on how it goes. And I want to kick it over to John, who will talk about potential pilot sites in Kauai where these will be used. And John, just feel free to just let me know when to switch the slide over to the second one.
Sure. Well, we've been kind of focusing on a couple of things as we look around here. First off, we have this is a quick map showing where we do have sewer on the island, and then also, as you can see, a large portion of that is not covered, and we've got our share of cesspools. So yeah, Yoko, why don't you switch over to the other slide? So we kind of focus on the priority areas on the island. Priority 2 areas being the Kapawailua area and the Poipu Koloa area, and the priority 3 area being up north in the Hanalei area. And you know, within that, you know, looking at some of the underserved community to try and find a good fit for this. So areas, obviously low income, ag housing, accessory dwellings are some of the needs that we've heard from talking to the folks here around Kauai. So we're open to feedback or input on some of that to any of the Kauai folks on the call here. If there's a particular location or need, we'd certainly be open to you know, seeing if that's a good fit. We've got some inquiries out there, but I think we certainly be willing to consider some locations as well.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, and so the last slide is just saying thank you. Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you all for awarding us the grant. And I will open it to questions. Thank you all very much.
So we've got some questions in the chat and Yoko, maybe you can bring up a picture of the incineration toilet just so people can see that up close if
good idea.
One available. Keith had asked, oh, let me go before that. Let's see. Ben had asked kilowatt hours consumed per flush on average. That's for Ryan.
That I think Yoko has that information.
Yeah, let me pull it up while I look at the picture. Can we do another question?
Yep. So another question Keith asked is why use propane and why not produced quote unquote natural gas? Ryan, you want to take that one?
I think in this case, the propane is more readily available for what we're looking at. I do believe that the natural gas will work just as will work okay as well. The only thing we need to check on with the manufacturer is the quality. There's a certain quality of gas that they need. So what we did when we started this is we got the information from Hawaii Gas that brings in the propane, and we sent that to the manufacturer. They reviewed the specs of and the quality of the propane that we're getting. Natural gas can be cleaner, so I expect that that would not be a problem to use natural gas in place of propane.
I think, like you say, you make a good point of it. You need something that's, you know, very regulated, available in tanks, smaller. And so, you know, this is what they decided to use. Go ahead.
Now, and the main thing with this, I mean, this is what I look at as a first step. I would always recommend the electric. If we can put in an electric one over propane, that would be the first choice. Being that our grid is going more and more to renewables, we don't necessarily want to continue with propane and, you know, long term, but for the time being, it's a good solution. So maybe an interim step.
Thank you. And to go back and answer Ben's question, Yoko, I think you put it in the chat.
Yes, thank you. So I found it in their manual. It says energy consumption per incineration will vary between 0.8 and 2 kilowatt hours depending on the quantity of waste in use. And like Ryan already said, if you sit down, do your business, and stand up, incineration starts, and then somebody else comes 5 minutes later, the incineration is not done yet. The cycle usually takes between 40 and 50 minutes, but that's totally fine. The second person sits down on it, opens the lid, and the incineration immediately stops, and they can do their business, close the lid again, and it'll just incinerate the two together. And it can do that for a number of uses. So that's why it can vary, just because some people go more, or if more people go at the same time, then it'll take more, but that's usually the range, 0.8 to 2 kilowatt hours per use.
Yeah. And then you can have between 4 to 6 uses per hour on average. So for a home, unless it's a very crowded and busy home, you know, this is totally sufficient, or on a farm. But people have asked us about putting this at venues, public venues, you know, where you'd have a lot of people and you couldn't control the number. That wouldn't be appropriate for this, you know, just because you want to keep it under 4 to 6 uses generally. You can exceed that, but generally.
When we look at the power requirement, we did more analysis on the propane side than we did on electric. And what we kind of found was that when we looked at so many uses per day and how long a 5-gallon, you know, standard barbecue grill propane tank would last, and what it kind of comes down to is anywhere between minimal usage and maximum usage, it's kind of the same efficiency, where I think what we established was, you know, at maximum usage, you would be changing the tank maybe twice a month. Whereas at minimum usage, you'd still be changing it twice a month because it's running that cycle all day during the day when people are awake.
That's right.
And I think Yoko has more on the spreadsheet in that information. So.
Yeah, so you can think, you know, if you use it a lot, you get more uses out of it because more people will go during the same incineration cycle. And if one person goes every hour, it still incinerates once every hour, same as if 2 people go every hour. So exactly like Ryan said, it sort of equals out. So you might want to poop more if you want to get more bang for your buck.
You know, with just a slight variation on that, with minimum use, if you're not at home all day, or, you know, not out of town, it's not going to use anything except, you know, for the minor amount that's used for the monitor stays on.
That's right.
And so, yeah, so it's going to be, you know, in that case, if it was very minimal use, it could last easily a month. Marvin had asked, and this is for Yoko and Ryan, about producing, does it produce carbon dioxide, you know, in the burning process, or, you know, what is produced in terms of the gas?
There is.
This is something. Oh, go ahead, Yoko.
I was going to say they are using a very high quality filter to filter out as much pollutants as they can. Obviously, some CO2 will escape, and that is simply because something is being incinerated, but they are very cautious of that and trying not to pollute. So the filters that they use are very high quality and very reliable.
Yeah, and then of course the other side is that it does have a catalytic converter as well on the exhaust side.
Yeah.
So I think what they're trying to do, I know I will have to get more information on the CO2 levels. What is that's something we don't have at this time.
Yeah, and Christina added that apparently the same amount of propane produces more heat than natural gas. So for this, propane is probably more efficient. And how's the price and performance of a propane version versus the electric model?
It's pretty much the same. Within $100 of each other between electric and propane. The difference being is going to be more in the installation, and that's going to be specific to whatever you have to where the installation is as far as the structure and whatnot.
Yeah, and then it will have to have that pipe, the vent pipe that goes out, but it does not need a water connection, any kind of plumbing connection, because it's completely.
Yeah. And I think the one difference between the propane model and the electric, the propane has to have a outside air vent at the floor level. I haven't determined yet whether this is to bring fresh air in, or in the event of a propane leak, it's low to the floor where it's a vent to go out of the house. So I would actually think it would be both. The electric does not require that. And that's where an exterior wall works best with the propane model, if you were going to put it inside.
All right. And Keith mentioned regarding sustainability and resilience, we need to look to produce power energy sources. And so, you know, we are looking at, you know, smaller communities that, you know, might have solar power already hooked up. We don't have a solar power modeled yet because the incineration requires too much power to do that. But so the solar panel we use is more for the monitoring device currently, but they are working on that. Let's see, Felicia said, I think a farm in Kauai's northeast region is an excellent area for a sample because there is a strong market in that area. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that if you all know anybody is interested, it kind of meets those specs, you know, a 2 to 3 bedroom house with 1 to 2 bathrooms, please let us know, because we are looking, you know, for a home for that pilot project. And then Robin asked, does it make noise?
Yeah, Christina, do you want to talk about that? You've seen it in action?
Sure. Yeah, the unit is really very quiet. I think it's probably quieter than a standard flush toilet. I really didn't notice any particular sound when I heard it at the Kolima farm demonstration. So yeah.
The only real noise is there's a small fan that runs during the incineration cycle. That's hardly noticeable.
But you can probably buy a mechanism that makes a flushing sound if you're used to that and still need that to feel the process is complete. Darlene says, excuse me, as the technology on this type of system innovates, do you think the total cost would go down within the next 5 years? Good question, Darlene.
Are you referring to the combination system? So including the greywater system or only the Cinderella, Darlene?
Yes, I'm thinking for the combination system, like to convert, I'm thinking of building another house. And in order to do that, I would have to convert my current house and the new house to something new, and without incurring a ton of cost. So I'm thinking combination system for 2 houses together.
Right. Ryan, you're very versed in the contracting. My instinct would be we're sort of optimized as it comes to installing leach fields and treatment tanks. So there's not really going to be much innovation coming there, which is almost like a pro, I would say, for the system, because it's just a combination of proven systems that we already know and have been using for a long time. But I mean, there's a chance that the Cinderella might go down in price as manufactured more in the future. I could see that as they go into higher quantities and you get bulk discounts and shipping is less to Hawaii if more people want it. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's a possibility, but it's really a well-manufactured product. They don't use inexpensive, cheap materials. It's built to last a long time. And so it's going to be hard to, unless they can find a way to mass produce and keep that quality, which I'm not sure. That's up to the manufacturer whether they're willing to do that. It's going to be hard for them to go down much in price. I think what can get better might be on the installation side and standardizing installations, and certainly with a combination system, the more that's done, the more competition there is, then I think you'll see some people getting into the market that are going to get really efficient.
I'm also thinking that maybe there would be, because it would become more popular, that there would be more like credits that could be applied, kind of like Tesla, credits applied so that people would convert to the system.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's really where, I mean, the reality of the number of cesspools in Hawaii, there's really no chance that all of them are going to be closed by 2050 or probably even 2070 without assistance from credits and from tax credits and from the government and the community.
We're working hard to find those financial resources to help Hawaii's homeowners, and including appropriations from the federal government. And, and just as a clarification, for the Kauai Innovation Grant, we're going to do one combination for a house, but then we're also looking at, like DOFA has facilities that are way up in the mountains, and they have to use helicopters. They have composting toilets there currently, and they used to have to use helicopters. They empty the waste. They have to shovel it into a big, steel bucket and then helicopter it out of there. And you can imagine how pleasant that job is, how dangerous it is to get helicopters hovering over, populated areas with waste hanging down in a steel bucket. And we got one quote that said, they're spending 80 to 100,000 a year just on those helicoptering costs and taking the waste out. So we're also looking at a system of putting something like that there that would never have to be emptied. And it's going to be a much cleaner sanitary experience too. So we have some government agencies that are very excited about this. Robin said, as a final question, because we just need to be wrapping up, did you say the cost did not include permitting? What kind of permitting needed? Estimated cost, can permitting be streamlined with this technology?
Thank you. For the Cinderella toilet, if you just want, an outhouse somewhere that has it, we're currently working on convincing the Department of Health that these should run without a permit, since, for example, porta potties are also not requiring wastewater permits from county or the state. We believe we have some solid arguments to stand on, so hopefully in the next few weeks and months we can convince them. But for the combination system, it will most likely, or it will definitely be an individual wastewater system permit, which is run through the state. The county is not involved in that. And the permitting cost itself is $100. And the engineer, different engineers charge different amounts, but I would assume that it's, less than $4,000 for sure for the permitting in this case.
Yeah. So the cost of the equipment itself is about $4,000. And then, so it's not too much more than that for the permitting. And we hope to streamline this. Right now, this is the only incineration toilet that is permitted, that has National Sanitation Foundation approval to install in Hawaii, just because they're one of the oldest companies and they've been doing this for so long, and they're quite prevalent throughout Europe, especially during COVID, when it was found out that these the pathogens could be carried and detected in wastewater. They started putting these in a lot of intergovernment agency and emergency medical teams in their vans and their offices, makeshift offices, because they could be reassured that it was 100% pathogen free. So that's another benefit. And right now, the Department of Health wants us to put the ash. You'd have to empty the ash tray maybe once a week for a family of 4. It's very little ash. It reduces so much. And they want us to put it in a trash can for now, but throughout Europe, they just put it in the garden because it has nutrients. And so you put it in a little trash can by your, by the toilet itself. But eventually we hope you can put it in the garden. Any last final comments or?
There's one comment I think we missed on the cost per year, Stuart, if you will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and address that, Ryan.
So sounds like it would cost roughly $600 per year in energy costs for a family of 5. Yoko, do you have that on your sheet?
I did not look at that, but it sounds just based on what the calculations would be, family of 5, 1 use per day per occupant, and then I would assume what the price per kilowatt hour is, and then times 365. Yeah. So I'm going to trust you on this, Ben, that you can use your calculator well enough.
It was just somewhere in the range, and I guess the point was just kind of asking. Obviously, this thing is great for situations where you just don't have another choice and you're causing a pollution problem. I just want to be fair about the trade-offs, and I think absent the solar resource, there's an expense there that would have to be faced by the homeowner. That should be kind of part of the full disclosure. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't. I'm gonna say it sounds like that's not too. If I just did a quick calculation on the propane, and it came out around the same, which is one of the things we were looking at. The electric and propane energy costs were about very similar, electric being a little bit less.
Yeah. There's savings in water costs because it's waterless. But yeah, Christina.
I was going to say that cesspools are kind of a get out of jail free right now because there's no cost associated with that. But as mentioned in the comment too, folks that are connected to sewer are paying in the neighborhood of $100 a month for their sewer fees. And any upgrade that's going to happen is going to come with some kind of cost. And that, that includes like if you're installing some kind of upgraded septic system, there's a high upfront capital cost there that you might end up financing, or electricity costs from something like the Cinderella toilet. So, we definitely want to, help bring those costs to manageable levels for homeowners. But I think there is some kind of cost somewhere along the line for effective wastewater treatment that's going to be good for the environment.
Yeah, and as Keith said, that with wastewater, you also have, you're dealing with dangerous pathogens, and we have pharmaceuticals and contaminants of emerging concern. But with this, you can be really rest assured that this is going to, take care of those problems, which is a benefit. And Keith also mentioned the helicopters taking out the waste, referring to them as shipmaster aviators. Yes, we've got lots of puns that we have kind of spared you tonight, but anybody who's interested, please feel free to contact us offline. We would love to talk to you more about it. And you can reach out to us at info@cleanwater.org. And then we'll just do one final question from Melody, and then we'll wrap it up. Melody, go ahead. You're on mute.
Okay, there we go. Actually, I wanted to make a comment, and the comment is on a bill that is not given a hearing, and currently the Health Committee Chair, Ryan Yamani, is not pre-proposed or to give it a hearing, and that's Senate Bill 369. And what this bill would do would require, whenever there is a sale of a real property that has a cesspool in it, then there will be an inspection, and that inspection will say whether or not a change or an upgrade needs to be done, and then there will have to be a promise to do such upgrade to a septic or what have you. And so, to our understanding, and this is the Environmental Caucus, that the drawback, of course, is the realtors, and right now it's a hot market, and they don't want to have this hindrance. So I just want to say that from the Environmental Caucus point of view, we hope to have a hearing by Ryan Yamani, but it's going to take all of us to push him in order to have a hearing. So I wanted to see whether this group would be interested in supporting that effort.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Melody. If you could put Representative Yamani's just name in the chat. Yeah, he's the chair of Health, Housing, and Homelessness, and we this was our one big bill that almost sailed through last year, but was when COVID hit and the legislature stopped, it kind of died. It passed unanimously from the Senate, and yet Ryan Yamani's committee won't hear it. The Energy and Environmental Protection Committee is waiting to hear it. So if you have connections to him, to Ryan Yamani, please encourage him to hold this bill. It needs to be scheduled, I think by this week for it to move forward. So thank you for mentioning that, Melody. It's really important that that he hear from people that this is important to us, because it's one of the only mechanisms the state has to start this conversion process, other than if you're doing upgrades to your, and you need a permit, then DOH can force you to do these conversions. But otherwise, we're just kicking the can down the road and not doing what we need to do with 90,000 cesspools. And remember, we're in last place. We were the last state to allow cesspools, the last state to ban them, and we have the most per capita in the country. So it is a real issue. It affects water quality. In some areas, it affects drinking water. So yeah, we appreciate you all being so involved. And just on a final note, just regarding the Kauai Innovation Grant, but also wanted to represent, thank, we also have, along with Councilmember Cowden, we have Councilmember Chalk, and Ben Sullivan's here, and the group from OED. Kauai has just been on the forefront of this issue, and I really want to tip my hat to Kauai County, because more than the other counties, they are really taking this issue very seriously, and they're finding ways to do it. And they realize also, like we do, that this is a huge job creator. That the cesspool issue, we have a mandate to convert all cesspools by 2050. And that's, if we started today, would be 3,000 cesspools a year for the next 30 years to do all 90,000. And we're currently converting about 150 to 200 years. So we need to step up the rate by 20 times. The good news is that means a lot of clean, green energy jobs that pay well. And these are long-term jobs that are not affected by tourism and boom and bust in the construction market, because they need lots of maintenance and they will have to be replaced after 60 years or so, the lifespan of these systems. So important point.
Gotta go.
Thank you so much, Keith. Thank you, all of you. We're going a little over time, but we appreciate you joining us tonight. I want to really thank Yoko and Ryan and John for this great presentation, and all of you for joining us tonight. Mahalo.
Stuart for moderating.
Yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I spared you my jokes, but I have some that I can share with you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Do it now, Stuart.
Aloha. Have a good night.
Aloha.
Aloha.